get started.
Yeah. Which was
So you need
just
I know, this was 2 days. Yeah, only part of like I'm living up here, but only part of more of it.
Right, and a lot of people watch it online now too.
So don't make faces. Be nice.
No, you won't see it all. It'll be directed at the speakers. Joe, I know you do. That's fine, that's fine.
And I sent it to you too.
Because I know,
I sent it to
there's
you.
just so much.
Yeah, because you were included.
Especially
That's how you got the responsibility.
every
Yeah,
day
it's
it's
a
another
warning. I
event.
had sent that.
But we're kind of ready to order. Okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started because our honored guests all have other things to do besides just this, so we appreciate and value their time. So we're gonna let them come up one at a time, introduce themselves, speak, and then when they each have taken a turn to speak, we'll have some time for individual. You wanna come up first?
Bonnie Rickard, one of the candidates for the Family Court Judge for Boone and Gallatin counties. I have been in Boone County for 22 years. Married my husband Brian, and we've lived here ever since. He's from Boone County. I'm from northern Kentucky, so not very far. We have 2 children. Braden is 19 and like 2 weeks. So my class from Salmon P. Chase College of Law in northern Kentucky in 2001. My practice focuses a lot on family law, which includes divorce, child custody, child support, dependents and neglect and abuse cases in my practice as well. I practice with 2 other attorneys. We have our office. I do a lot of community service. We have a meeting at 7 o'clock tonight, which is where I'll be going when I leave here. There's some education, and I also see a lot of my work, how the family court decisions affect them in their everyday life and the impact it causes on their lives when they go to school. I also am the president of the board for Go Pantry. If you haven't heard of that, it's a nonprofit organization created by 2 women in their homes in 2012. They pack weekend bags for underprivileged kids, send them home on the weekend for food. Currently they're serving all of our schools in Boone County. We do about 300 bags per weekend, and then we do about 400 families during spring break, fall break, Thanksgiving, Christmas break, in the summer. So we send home boxes, and that feeds the entire family. So I've been involved with that since about 2014. Started out just packing, and then it developed into more that I work for them. Then I also do a lot of service projects with kids' sports and volunteering for things like that in our community as well. I want to be the family court judge for Boone and Gallatin counties. The reason I'm running is because I do want to continue to protect the interests of the children, and I will make decisions that are informed and that are in the best interest of the children. Like I said, I've been working with kids for at least 12 years, but over 12 years, and that's like a very big focus of what I do in the volunteer work that I do as well. I also will be able to do things promptly. I want to get the cases through because family court matters, as we know, affect your life, and it's very emotional for their families, and they don't want to be waiting on decisions to be made. So I'm committed to working hard and making sure that those decisions are done promptly. So I hope that on November 6th you'll vote for Bonnie Rickard as family court judge. And I can't stay long to answer questions because I do have to go to my meeting, but feel free to contact me if you go to my website. It's www.rickardforjudge.com. You can email me, and if you leave your number, I'll call you back. I'll be happy to meet with anybody or talk to you more about why I'm running and why I would like you to vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, you also need to go.
It doesn't matter. I can do it. I've got somebody at my booth.
Oh, okay.
Everybody else has to do it if they can.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and share my success. Since I singled you out.
That's fine. I'm going to give you all my cards so you remember who I am. Thank you. You're fine. You're fine. You're welcome. There you go. Thank you. So as you can read on my card, I'm Greta Hoffman Walker. It's Greta Hoffman Walker. It's really just Greta Walker now, but I got married in 2010, and it took me about 5 years to agree to accept my husband's name. So I changed my name and confused the entire legal community by, they don't know whether to call me Greta Hoffman or Greta Walker. I run Greta Hoffman and Associates, only anymore to the confusion, but I have a practice on 42, and I've been in business since 2008. Prior to that, I was working with my family's firm at the Hoffman firm, is what it was called, in Ellesmere, Kentucky. 2 children of my own. He has 2 children and he has 3 grandchildren. My husband's from England, and one of his children lives in England with her 3 children, and one of his children lives here. So, needless to say, lots of complication with that. And I think that that's important to know that I have these kind of family issues that we have to deal with, because we're talking about family court. And it's important, an important perspective, I believe, for people to understand what families go through when they get divorced and when they get remarried, and to understand the emotional implications, the financial implications, as well as the legal implications of all of those decisions and those life events that happen for more than half of our society. So that's one of the unique things about me that I believe qualifies me for this position. With regard to legal experience, I've been practicing for 16 years. I got my license in '96, but I didn't actually start fully practicing until 2002. And the reason for that was because I was managing law firms. I had a business of my own where I started up, and I started subcontracting the management services for 8 different law firms. I sold that business and got divorced and kind of reworked my life, got back together, and went back to the practice of law in 2002. I've been doing it steadily since then, and 85% of my practice is in family law. And it's in all areas of family law, not just parts of it. I've done everything. Throughout the 16 years that I've been practicing, I have been a mediator, guardian ad litem for children, guardian ad litem for prisoners, guardian ad litem for adults, people that are addicted, people that are trying to take children from people that are addicted. I've represented grandparents, parents, it's been all over the board. I've even represented neighbors that got custody of a child. So the depth of my experience is pretty broad, or pretty extensive. And I feel that that's also obviously very important to this position, to have some kind of experience with the caseload that's going to come before you in court. What I want to do, the reason why I want to be the family court judge, is because I believe that the community needs somebody that has that type of experience, the type of experience that I have, the personal experience and the depth of the experience legally, work-wise. So I feel like that's something that I have to offer and that I want to offer to our community. In addition to that legal experience, I also have an information systems degree, and I have just a passion for technology. And that's important because, the practice of law is still kind of living in last century, and we're slowly getting there, but it's not really where it should be, not with business. It's just not caught up to everything else. I want to bring some of my approach, or some of my practices into the practice of law if I can. Some of that is limited by the state, and there's nothing that we can do about it, but I believe there are some very inexpensive things that we could initiate into the court practices that could perhaps keep people from having to come to court. For instance, one thing that really irks me more than anything is when somebody owes, $10,000 in child support, and the person that's supposed to be getting the child support constantly has to go to court over and over to just get it continued out, or to be told that person didn't show up again, or something like that. And I feel like those people should perhaps be able to testify by maybe even just FaceTime in, or not necessarily FaceTime, but some kind of a video conference into court, because those people are losing their jobs sometimes, just because they have to take off work so much to go to court. So I want to try to improve circumstances like that, and I want for them to possibly be able to get through court a little bit easier without, there's a lot of discovery abuse among attorneys as an attorney. And I feel that this is something that the judge does have, and it gives you an unfair process. And I feel like I would very much like to hunker down on that one a little bit and make things a little bit more. My name is Greta Walker, and all you gotta do is remember Greta. If you see me out at the fair anywhere, we're gonna be at the Boone County Fair all week. We're doing a Get a giveaway, because I want people to remember my name, so we're giving away Get a with Greta. So come on over and sign up. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Jen, would you like to go up next? Our third candidate. Yeah.
Thank you guys for all being here tonight. Just by being here, it just shows how you're interested in the process and you care and you want to learn about this position and who we are, and want to try to find who you think is the most qualified for the position. So that's really important, and I'm glad you're all here. So thank you for having me here. I'm Jenny Using. I'm running for Family Court Judge in Boone and Gallatin counties. I'm running because I want to do my part to make a difference to try to protect the children and families in our community. And I feel that given my personal and professional experience, this position is the best opportunity for me to do that. My personal experience, I don't think I know any of you, so I can just start from the beginning. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm an adoptive mother. My husband and I recently went through the training to become foster parents. My husband's an educator. He's been a teacher for almost 20 years. He's currently at Ryle High School. He's the assistant principal at Ryle. He's been there about 6 years now, so he's mentored hundreds of youth over the years. He cares about children too. We both do. I'm active in the community. I'm on the board of Women's Crisis Center. Before I was on the board of Women's Crisis Center, I was a runner with the Women's Crisis Center for years. So I've been on the board about 8 years. I've been a runner probably about 7 years before that, so probably 15 years total with the Women's Crisis Center. And they're, an amazing organization that when I was a runner, what I did was I responded to incidents of sexual assault and domestic violence in the hospitals. So anytime there was a sexual assault or domestic violence in the area, Women's Crisis Center always sends somebody to go meet with the person, usually a woman, but not always, and kind of help them and just let them know they're not alone in the process. So, so that's been a really important part of just my community service. I'm passionate about children. Like I said, I'm an adoptive mom, but I'm also interested in foster care. And my passion for protecting children and sort of the permanency of children really began a long time ago. My first job out of college was at a residential treatment center for children, and it was a home for kids ages 3 to 8 that were severely abused and neglected to the point where they wouldn't have made it in normal foster homes. They just had behavior and emotional issues that kind of prevented them from being in a home environment, so they needed round-the-clock care and therapeutic care. So that experience for me was just such an eye-opening experience because I saw firsthand the effects of abuse and neglect on children. And I don't want to use the word damage because that makes it seem like it's irreversible. It's not. It's just a scar that kind of stays with them, forever, and it changes the course of their lives. And that job is really what propelled me into law school. So I knew I wanted to do more. I just didn't know what, and I knew I could go to law school and figure out how to do more. While I was in law school, I volunteered at Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky in Lexington, and I went to University of Kentucky. I volunteered at the Fayette County Attorney's Office prosecuting cases of abuse and neglect, and at CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates of Fayette County, and we have one in Boone County too, and they're a great organization that they appear in court, they advocate for children in court, and they do a lot of good work. So I continued all that through law school. And after law school, my first job as a lawyer was with the current family court judge, Judge Bramlage in Boone County. I worked with her for 2 years, and that was a great experience because I got to see firsthand, you know, what family court is and how it works, and I learned everything about family law. I handled all the adoptions that came through in Boone and Gallatin counties, just making sure there's jurisdiction, making sure, you know, everything was properly filed. So that was a great experience. And ever since then, I've been in private practice, doing it pretty much exclusively family law. I've done every element of family law. I've done, you know, divorce, custody, child support, paternity, domestic violence, and also adoptions. And adoptions is really one of my passions. I'm one of 6 attorneys in the state of Kentucky to be a member of the American Academy of Adoption Attorneys, and that's a national organization of adoption attorneys, you know, throughout the whole country, that are just made up of attorneys who practice and have distinguished themselves in family law, in adoption law. So that's been a real honor to kind of be involved at that national level and work with attorneys all over the country in adoptions. You know, I'm running for this position because it's important, because family is everything. And I think if I asked everybody in this room what's the most important thing in your life, you'd probably all say my family, my children. And that's the same for everyone, you know. And we need someone in this position who has the legal experience and who has the commitment to the job, because it's not an easy job, and has the right judicial temperament for the job, because you need someone who is patient and listens to everyone and treats everyone with respect and takes what they're hearing and tries to make the best sound decision they can for these children. And that's what I hope to do. And I hope that you guys all get out and vote in November, and you remember Jennifer Dusing, her family court judge.
And last, but certainly not least.
Oh, certainly least.
No. Mr. Tankersley.
Thank you very much. Howard Tankersley is my name. I'm an attorney running for family court judge in Boone and Gallatin County. Every lawyer, to some extent, became a lawyer because she wanted to help someone. She wanted to help people. And that's absolutely true. Whether you're a lawyer that's rolling in the bucks or whether you're a lawyer working for a legal aid society, at their core, all those lawyers, they want to help people. And I've said this a few times over my career. A few years ago, I was the president of the Northern Kentucky Bar Association, and I had an opportunity to give a speech. I think I was actually presenting an award to the Legal Aid Society for someone for meritorious service. And I said that lawyers, we're all here to help people. And someone wrote that down. And years later, they put that on the website, on the Legal Aid Society website. So a couple of years ago, I'm working with this young lawyer, and she says to me, is your dad named Howard? And I said, no, my dad's named Ralph. He said, was he a lawyer? I said, no, he's a retired first sergeant. He said, well, who's this Howard Tankersley that's on the Legal Aid Society website? I said, that's me. You know, and it pleased me that she thought I was young, for one thing, because she had been out of law school for probably 3 years, and I've been out of law school right now for 25 years, so it was 20 years when I was having that conversation. But that's just a fancy way to lead up to the fact that I've been practicing law for 25 years. But I have been practicing law for 25 years. I've been living in Boone County that long. Live in Burlington with my wife. I have 2 children, both adults. One's a graduate of the University of Kentucky. The other one is a graduate of Western Kentucky University. Bonnie indicated that her daughter is going to the University of Virginia. I'm a graduate of the University of Virginia. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to her about that. I'm currently employed at the Children's Law Center. I represent children. That's my sole job, is to represent children. And it's the best job, it's the best work I've ever done as a lawyer. I can't tell you how much I enjoy helping out these young people. Telling this 8 or 9 or 10-year-old kid, I'm your lawyer. And more often than not, that surprises them, that there's somebody there that actually wants to be for them. And it just pleases me so much to give these young people, to empower them, let them know that they're important in this process. Mom and dad are fighting, yeah, but you have a say, you have a role, what you're doing, what you think, what you feel is important, and I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you advocate for that. So that's why I want to be a judge, because I know that that's the kind of work, that's the kind of mindset that I can bring to the job. Every lawyer who's practiced family law knows that children are important, that families are important. I know that. I'm not saying that I think children are more important than anybody else. But what I can tell you is that I am positive that when I am a judge, that when that child's interest is before me, I will focus on that. That is the most important thing. All those other issues are important. Property, money, taxes, visitation, parenting time, all that stuff is very important. But the most important thing is the child's best interest. And I promise you, and I will promise every litigant who comes in my courtroom, that that's what I'm going to focus on first. So I have a history of service. I've been on the Northern Kentucky Bar Association. I was its president. I've served on the Dinsmore Homestead Board for a long, long time. I'm a regular blood donor. This is not a cliche, and it's really true. I do read to the blind. I've done it for 8 years now. On Sundays, I go and read the New York Times over the air with a partner. I enjoy that work. I enjoy service. I'm positive, I'm sure that when I'm a judge, that I will positively impact that child. I will positively impact the litigants before me, the lawyers that come before me, and I will have a positive impact on the community. I think that that's the service that I can give, and I look forward to doing it. So on November 6th, I sure would appreciate your vote. Howard Tankersley, Family Court Judge. Thank you all.
So we're going to take a break and allow everybody, now that you've heard everybody speak, to have the opportunity to ask any questions or individual conversations with the candidates. And we'll get back to our meeting after they've had time and can go to their other things. Thank you.
Thank you very much.